to further unpack developments, of course, taking place there at the National Convention. We've roped in political analyst Dr. Levy Ndou. Dr. Ndou, a very good afternoon. It's always a pleasure. So welcome. So how would you characterize first the two-day National Convention? Do you think it has fully addressed or at least come close to fulfilling its mandate, Prof?
Alicia, good afternoon to you. Good afternoon to the viewers at home. I think what becomes very central is that the call for a national dialogue has been made, and government has responded positively to have the national dialogue. Of course, you're going to have, or we had, a situation where some people would feel that there are certain things that were not done properly. There are those who would feel that they've been excluded, and there are those who feel that some of the issues that they need to raise have not been properly captured. But I think what becomes very central is that the national dialogue talks to the message of people-centered government, where government is able to say, you could be represented by different political parties in parliament and everywhere else, but government could still be not in a position to be able to reach to all the citizens out there. And it's also important for the citizens to be given an opportunity to raise their voice. The differences that you see in the build-up towards the convention and indeed the dialogue also talks to the fact that we are diverse as a South African population, but we still want our voices to be heard. What I've also observed is that there are those who would raise issues in a manner that some would feel comfortable and some will feel uncomfortable. My view is that that is the nature of a dialogue. You need to get people to ventilate so that government should be able to know and understand the feelings of the people on the ground.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely, Doctor. I mean, obviously, this was, of course, a learning curve for everyone that is involved there, I suppose. Look, let's look at the length on those issues, of course, that were raised by some who did manage to have a say during the proceedings. I mean, issues of our current educational syllabus, where they raise issues with the fact that what we are subjected to studying is not even reflective of our current society and state. The fact that they detest leadership that is geared toward or centered towards the promotion of Western ideas that are non-beneficial to us as a country, to matters of the budget that has been questioned by various voices. Even the president yesterday, Doctor, they're conceding that they didn't make a decision on that particular number. Surely this could make for even more questions around this process than it was espoused to do, don't you think?
This is the first process of its kind, post-democracy. And with the expectations of democracy that came, there are those who are satisfied, there are those who are not happy, there are those who still want to make an input. And my view is that on the basis of an event like this one, you are able to get broadly the views of the people on the ground and therefore be able to respond. Of course, there are those who have raised important issues that will relate to the budget, the organizational part of the event. But this is the first of its kind, post-democracy. And of course, we could have areas where others will identify challenges. And indeed, we'll get areas where most will be impressed, like many people that have been listening to, talking good about this activity. We can still learn more and indeed improve.
Absolutely, Doctor. So what are the lessons that should be learned as, of course, this was just a precursor to the actual dialogue? And was it advisable, though, for the government to forge right ahead with the convention against so much criticism and basically with so many important questions not having been answered or addressed? And again, we saw the withdrawal of those legacy foundations and some still complaining, even now, Doctor, that they were never contacted even today. I mean, we have the local government elections taking place next year. What could be the potential impact of such a decision you think, especially on the part of the ANC?
You will always get mixed reactions when we've got events similar to this one. There are those who are saying that there is sufficient representation of the different formations out there. And there are those, the very same people are saying more still has to be done. There are those who are saying that the arrangement has not been done in a manner that is satisfactory, and they've actually decided to pull out of the convention. But the fact of the matter is that there are those who are saying we need our voices to be heard. Government is also saying bring your views to us so that we should also be able to respond. So we're going to get a mixed feelings from different sectors of society. But my view is that those who still feel that they can make a contribution and indeed an impact in building South Africa, they should still find ways and means to go back and become part of this exercise, because this is what happens when we want to build the nation. People have to come together, reset their priorities, reset their future, and indeed, everybody should feel comfortable in being part of the future and also having actively participated in that activity. It will be painful to lose or not to have those who were going to make meaningful contribution because they feel that the organizational part of it was not up to scratch, whilst they could still be able to join in and make a difference from within, rather than wanting to complain from outside.
But, Doctor, I mean, then let's look at the way forward. I don't know if it has been adequately communicated, because in terms of what happens to some of the resolutions and the concerns that are actually raised during this particular sitting, how will these actually be actioned?
One of the challenges that we have in society is that you still get people who are not involved in anything. And you know, when there are issues that relates to public participation and consulting with the people, there has to be an identification of stakeholders. So those who are not part of any stakeholder of any organization, they might feel excluded because they don't belong anywhere. But the unfortunate part will be a situation where we have got recognizable stakeholders that are not invited, and that will raise a big concern. But worst of it is when you have got recognized stakeholders, you invite them and they decide to pull out. So you get a mixture of all these things that the eminent persons are supposed to find ways and means to manage. But at least something has been started, and we can rely on this dialogue maybe to be able to reset the future of South Africa moving forward.
And that's the question, though, Doctor, because, I mean, if you look at the concerns that were raised, citizens are saying the government surely knows, is fully aware of our current challenges as a country. We do not need to be sitting down and having tea to further discuss, the pertinent issues. So instead of sitting down and not having a long-term solution as to how exactly some of these, suggestions will be actioned, that is specifically the point of contention, because what is then the point?
That is why, in my view, if you don't have political parties, it will still be fine, because political parties always debate issues that are affecting South Africans on a regular basis. And when you have to invite citizens and they come out and say, you know our problems, what we need from you is to be able to ensure that we're able to get permanent solutions to our problems. It's quite correct that politicians know our challenges that are being spoken about every day. What therefore is required, it's a new mindset, it's a new strategy that has to be developed. And for me, the biggest finger should go to our political leaders, that with all the resources and both persons and financial, we still cannot be able to deal with some of the issues that confront us on a regular basis. And my view is that with this dialogue, we need a change of mindset from our politicians, our administrators in government, to start doing things differently, so that the ordinary citizens should not be complaining anymore, but they should be complimenting what government is doing.
Look, maybe, Doctor, let's backtrack a little bit, right? We saw the furore around the push for this convention to sit come Friday, right, which was yesterday, against all the concerns and so forth. But, I mean, this was a high-level type of government organizational event. And yes, we do concede that it is the first of its kind. But in your view, how do you think it should have been properly constructed to ensure that some of these concerns that are now being raised, I mean, from going to structural debates that were aimed at specifically drawing public comment in some of those sessions, this was also not provided. People were just willy-nilly just taking mics, grabbing a mic and saying whatever they wanted to say to show that there was actually no structure. Why couldn't they have waited, put all their ducks in a row, and then conduct this process?
We are having this for the first time post-democracy. And we are meeting with people that have not had an opportunity to directly speak to government and knowing that government is listening.
That should have been concerned.
You have got an arrangement where, because of the emotions that will be associated with the event, everybody would love to have his or her voice heard. And there are people who are saying this convention cannot come to an end, not them having said something, because they feel that government will be able to listen and indeed their issues could be raised. Of course, you should be able to get these kind of issues that will talk to disorganization. I also observed a situation where someone had to be removed and someone was speaking as if it wasn't properly organized. This should be seen as a learning curve. We did not have this kind of an event in the past 30 years, and organizing it with people who have never got an opportunity to sit at this level could be quite difficult. But we can still learn because we still have processes that are unfolding. And I think those that are given responsibilities should do their best to avoid what we actually observed in the last 2 days.
Doctor, look, in terms of those political parties, specifically those that are part or supporting this national convention, as well as those that decided not to be part of these proceedings, what should their role be in ensuring that, of course, some of these concerns that are actually being raised by citizens, whether in this level or not, are actually addressed by the political parties? Because, as you rightly pointed out, the political parties still carry the weight of the voice of the people.
It is unfortunate that we still have political parties that would feel that they do not want to be part of a national discourse. It is unfortunate that there are political parties that will say where people matters, they would not want to participate. And there could be a number of reasons. Some political parties' focus would only be on the minority. So they don't want to deal with the issues of national interest. As long as the small minority that they represent is satisfied, then they don't care. There are those who are saying that we would love to be part of moving South Africa forward, want to get the views of everybody and also be able to participate in this activity. So there could be other reasons why some parties are participating and some are not participating. But what remains the fact is that we know our political parties, we know their manifestos, we know where they stand. And the fact of the matter is that government has acceded to the fact that they need to get all citizens to add their views in an open forum where everybody is free to participate and air his views. All we expect is the positive response from government.
And that positive response being action about some of the concerns that have been raised, I suppose, there, Doctor. We're going to leave it there. Thank you so much, as always, for your input. That is Dr. Levy Ndou there. He's a political analyst, also just unpacking day 2, as well as 1, I suppose, of the National Convention. A lot of discussions taking place there amid, of course, a slew of concerns from whether it's public citizens as well as some of the civil society movements that feel that they were not given a chance to publicly air their views.